Passing a state trooper while in a very compromising situation. Then the lights. If sexual experiences were like trading cards, what would be your rarest card? Welcome back my bro, so good to see you again. If we haven't met yet, I'm Andrew, your narrator. Since you're already here, why not like the video, subscribe and hit the bell button. If you do, I'll give you a free Big Mac. Hope you did that. Anyways, let's start the stories. Got a blowjob in the middle of a field, turns out I was sitting on an anthill. I started to get bitten, so I jumped up, which surprised the girl who bit my dick and made it bled. She had braces. I fingered my ex so well she couldn't think straight. No idea how that happened, but it was a good hour of her not paying attention to what I was saying and occasionally saying she still felt aftershocks. Fun times. Came back from a night of heavy drinking with the GF and apparently got busy. I don't remember the act. I just woke up to see 3 used condoms and all the makeup she had been wearing was pressed into the wall. GF stopped having sex with me because we did it for so long once that she developed orgasm migraines. Before you crack the joke that headaches are supposed to happen beforehand or that she was faking it. A, I already made that joke to her. B, you're supposed to fake the orgasm, not the crippling migraine. Sex with a Zulu woman who wondered what it was like to duck a white man, the beneficiary of someone's sex tourism. Same thing, actually, also in Africa, with a Muslim girl who was allowed to travel for a school, college, I should emphasize, trip, and figured it was the only chance she was going to get. I have an extra nipple in my armpit, and my ex tried to play with it to turn me on. It didn't work, and he complained that everything tasted like deodorant after. No crap, buddy. Not sure what that card would be called, but it was certainly an experience. Edit. A number of medical professionals in the comments have alerted me that it's likely a skin tag, not an extra nipple. I don't really care what it is, the ex truly believed it was an extra nipple and wanted to see if it had any sensation. I just kinda rolled with it because I didn't know what to say at the time. I was part of a foursome and came so many times I was weak-kneed for hours. I got very oversensitive towards the end and sat back to just watch. 2 out of the 4 of us hadn't come yet, so after I tapped out, I became what I called the sex referee. Need a condom? I got you. Where's the lube? I found it. All done? I brought water for everyone. It was awesome. I lost my virginity at 14 to a 17-year-old who was trying to make her boyfriend jealous because he was cheating on her. I had known her for all of an hour at this point. I guess I was simply a conveniently located penis. Keep in mind, I'd never had a girlfriend or even a female friend at the time. I hadn't even seen porn other than stumbling onto stuff my older brother left for me to find. Pretty sure that would be an excessively rare card right there. Edit. Just got off work. Rip my inbox. Gonna start replying to comments now. Edit 2. Figured it'd be better here than in the replies. To all the people crying rape, yes, I was still 2 years younger than the age of consent in my state, 16, but I still said yes willingly and of my own accord. I definitely wanted it, even though the law says I couldn't have. Yes, I was awkward and uncomfortable, but that was because I had zero experience with girls at all. She didn't do any kind of lasting damage to me mentally or physically at all. I don't know how rare this card is, but I have participation in a unique fetish. A young woman once asked me to draw pictures on her naked back with permanent marker. I've never been much of an artist, but I gave it a try nonetheless, and about halfway through my first attempt, the girl started moaning and writhing beneath me in a way that seemed really exaggerated. Although I did my best to focus on my task, the motions of my partner made it rather difficult. Do you want me to keep doing this? I asked her. Yes. Yes. Came the young woman's reply. Yes, don't stop. Draw all over me. Again, the whole thing seemed more like a performance than it did an actual response to pleasure, and I started to get suspicious that I was being made the butt of some bizarre joke. Every line that I drew sent the girl into paroxysms of affected delight until she finally moaned for me to put away the marker and get out my paint sprayer. The rest of the evening eventually went on about as you'd expect from such encounters, despite a tiny voice in the back of my head asking what I'd missed about the whole situation. I finally got my answer when the girl asked to take a shower with me. It turned out that what she'd really wanted was for me to scrub her skin until it was practically raw. Suffice it to say that she hadn't needed to put on an act that time. We wound up having an informative discussion after I'd washed the remnants of my drawing off her, and it came to light that she'd always liked the feeling of being roughly bathed. When I asked why she hadn't simply requested that in the first place, she sheepishly admitted that having a fetish for emulating a easel seemed less bizarre to her. To each their own, I guess. Sex with a mother and her daughter. Not at the same time. I was dating this girl in college, and her mom developed this major crush on me. After she, the daughter, and I broke up, her mom came to my apartment to collect some of her daughter's stuff. We had a one-time fling, and I never talked to either of them again. Edit. Since people keep asking, I'm copying the long story from later in the thread. It was kind of dull, really. She knocked at the door, came inside, then made this joke that she was worried about catching me in my underwear. I joked back about how she could always leave and come back, and she said something like I might just do that. I told her if she was serious, I could just get undressed right there. She waited for a couple seconds, which made me think I'd gone too far, then said it would be more fun if she could help me get undressed. So, yeah. We undressed each other, there was some mutual touching and foreplay, then we had sex. It was actually kind of hard to concentrate sometimes because she kept squeezing my ass really hard, but we actually got pretty close to having a simultaneous orgasm. I think we both felt a little awkward afterward because we didn't even really talk. We just got dressed, she got the box of her daughter's stuff, and she left. I think the last thing she said to me was let's keep this between us. Also, the mom was better. The daughter was always a little bit mechanical, if that makes sense. It was like she knew how she was supposed to move, but wasn't really doing it for any other reason. The mom was a little too wild for me, but everything she did felt like it was supposed to make one of us feel good. Mutual touching, rubbing, groping with an attractive stranger without words in public transportation. Edit. Here is the story. I used to live near a big city and was taking some courses in a place downtown for a few months. Those classes were at 8 a.m., and the most convenient way to get there was to endure a 1-hour commute by bus. I say endure because of the terrible traffic and because, most of the time, all the seats would be taken, so there was no way to take a nap on the way. My earbuds were pretty much always on. That was the case for most people in the bus every day, all sleepy, either taking naps, listening to music, maybe reading. Too early to have conversations. One of those days, as I was trying to stay awake while standing, I noticed that a young woman, early 20s, around my age back then, was standing next to me, also with her earbuds on. We certainly checked each other out and looked at each other from the side of our eyes a few times. As more people came into the bus and the bus rocked back and forth in the middle of traffic, first our feet touched, we both smiled, we turned slightly, and then the bus stopped suddenly, and somehow our inner thighs touched. Maybe it was the music we were independently listening to, but we slowly got closer and closer to each other. Because it was a bit cold early in the morning, it felt really good to feel each other's body heat. My left leg was in between hers. We would make eye contact briefly once in a while for a split of a second. I saw her licking her lips, closing her eyes. Then we were pressing on each other, making slight movements, breathing on each other's necks. Our hands touched, I caressed her fingers, and she'd grabbed my wrist and pressed my hand against her leg, while biting her lips like trying to hold a moan. Then it all just kept going. She took my hand to make me touch her waist under her jacket. I also took her hand and pressed it against my leg. I moved my hand up and it kept going. Everything was slow, soft, warm caresses, light squeezes. It got so hot. She slowly moved my hand wherever she wanted, but we were trying to act like nothing was happening. My eyes were closed. She squeezed my hand with her legs between her legs. We started exploring each other with our hands over our clothes first, but then my thumb was already in her pants, and she was touching my penis with 2 fingers. Our faces touched. Then one guy in the bus decided to stand up and offered her his seat. And that's when we realized that other people could see what we were doing. She said, "No thanks. I'm fine," and did not take the seat. I felt like I snapped back to reality. A minute after that we couldn't really stand that close to each other because there weren't many people standing anymore. We were both still listening to music. My stop was the next one. We silently said goodbye with our eyes. During the next hours, the blue bowls were unbearable. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.